祝各位学長和阿咪，今日暗咱原在咱的蔡典傳師要甲咱繼續慈悲示導。To all our masters and all Taokins, good evening. Tonight, our master Tsai will be the one to provide us her compassionate guidance. 咱先來邀請咱的蔡典傳師慈悲示導。Let us invite our master Tsai for her compassionate guidance.
各位道親好，阿咪。
好，阿咪。
所以感謝
阿咪，
感謝祖師皇族，感謝師尊師廟大德，感謝老前人甲各位點堂師主批栽培，更加感謝今晚在座的修點堂師甲點堂師主批，互協下有這個機會踮咧room內底甲各位道親做伙來學習。
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have to thank our Heavenly Grace and for our teachers' compassion, and want to thank also our Sư尊Sư Mu and also our 领导点传师、总领导点传师 and our 领导点传师 and also our 周点传师 and 田点传师 who are present with us tonight. And we want to thank also everybody for attending our Zoom lecture tonight.
那麼今仔日學校咧繼續要甲咱兩禮拜前所說迄個修道三不離，甲講互調節，希望學校會當準時開班，準時結班。
So tonight we will continue with our discussion with the 3 inseparables of the cultivators. We hope that tonight we can start on time and we can also end on time.
咱有說吧吼，講起厝咧，就愛用水、白土甲山這項物件來起白土就才會用。咱修道嘛同款，愛用這個佛燈個經典甲聖地說吼，安尼來堅固咱的道心，咱修道才修會久久長長。
So we have mentioned before that in order to build a home or a house, we need water, sand, and cement so that we can make a very strong and sturdy house for us to live in. It is the same with cultivation, that in cultivation, we also need our temple, we need the scriptures, and we need the good knowledge for us to know and learn and understand more of our cultivation so that our cultivation can stay long and strong.
那麼咱已經有說過了，有講到三不離內面就是有佛燈，有經典，甲有這聖地說，佛燈甲經典這部分咱已經講到差不多了，因為頂禮拜點睛的原因咧，經典這部分有幾個咧講無調節，那麼咱今仔日用這個寶貴的點睛，甲迄幾個咧甲交代有清楚。
So we have mentioned last week that we in cultivation, we need to not stay away from the temple. We should not stay away from the Holy Scriptures. And also, we should not stay away from good knowledge. So we have already discussed about the temple and about the Scriptures. But since there are some topics in do not stay away from the Scriptures that we have not discussed very well last week, we will start from here.
咱會說啦，講讀經典吼，永遠未收早，嘛永遠未收晚。
We have mentioned that in studying the scriptures, it is never too late, and still it is never too early to start studying.
咱喺一寡道務甲皇典的所在咧，吼，那麼2、3個囡仔咧，就法度報名參加兒童讀經班。對2、3歲的時陣吼，無互伊去看遐濟電視啦，無互伊去耍遐濟電動玩具，專心互伊去讀經典的，甲伊10幾歲咧、20幾歲咧，互伊人生的迄個作用會真發揮了非常的光明，非常的強大。
We have mentioned that in places where Tao propagation was really progressive, that children there, even just 2 to 3 years old, were made to attend some classes where they are taught to read the scriptures. They are not given much time for TV viewing or for playing the games. because if the child starts early to study and read the scriptures, when he reaches the age of as a teenager, or when he reaches 20 years old, those things, scriptures that they have studied and read, will really help them to have a good life.
好，那么早几个囡仔读迄个《弟子规》哦，《弟子规》圣人训，首孝悌，次谨信，还是讲读迄个《三字经》，人之初，性本善，性相近，习相远哦。不管倒一篇经典哦，伊读啊读，大概伊大汉的时阵呢，虽然当时读的时阵唔知迄个意思，到伊大汉的时阵，伊自然就会去体会，会去领悟。
So these children, even when they are just 2 to 3 years old, they were taught in their classes to study, to learn, to read and memorize the 弟子规, and also sometimes the 三字经, and sometimes there are even other scriptures that they are taught to. So even though that during the time when they are trying to memorize these scriptures, that they are still young, they cannot really understand the meanings of the scriptures, but since these scriptures are already planted in their mind, when they grow up, they will little by little start to realize and understand the true meaning of the scriptures, and they will put them to good use.
那么为什么说讲读经典永远袂伤换咧？因为咱不管咱读多啊，读少，迄款物件咧，迄款正能量的物件咧，一定会对咱的灵性吼。伫个咱搁再来甲人结缘，来帮助上天老师来做这项代志的时阵咧，会当互咱伫个后世人搁再好好啊运用。
So why do we say that it is never too late to start studying the scriptures, even when we are already grown-ups? Because more or less when we are studying the scriptures, good energy will be with our Holy Spirit. And that in our next life, when we come back to this world, we will be made instruments in order to help our Lao Shi and our Lao Bunyu in helping the sentient beings for their cultivation.
所以咱顶礼拜伫迄个投影片内底有讲到两句话，我们现在放到投影片上面看到吼，毋是讲吼书到用时方恨少，实际上是吼书到今生独已迟。
So in our PowerPoint here, as shown now, we should not say that it is when we are trying to use what we have learned in the books that we realize that we have learned or read not enough. We should better say that it is already too late to start learning during the present lifetime.
所以咱就讲到一个例吧，讲咱着做大经内面，着做少年的时阵，啊个未修道的时阵是错茶咧饲因老母，那么有一天上茶去理社的时阵哦，听到理客迄念迄个金刚经，听到伊念着迄个应无所住，离心其心即八字的时阵呢，着做无读过咱人册哦，伊哩都毋捌咯，听到即八字的时阵哦，伊就恍然大悟，就拢体会了。可见吼，虽然伊即世人毋捌字，但是伊顶世人已经有甲即个金刚经，还是讲其他的佛经读啊体咯。
So we have mentioned that our sixth patriarch Huineng, that when he during the time he was cutting wood, and when he reached he passed by a temple or a place of cultivation, that he heard people reciting the Diamond Sutra. That when he encountered the phrase which says that thought should not be conditioned on situations, that it should not be too much attachment. There should not be too much attachment, and you should let your heart be free. So we will wonder that why is it that when he heard this phrase, he immediately became enlightened. So it means that it should have been because our sixth patriarch was not really well educated. He was not sent to school. So why is it that he can understand that phrase when he just heard it for the first time? So we should conclude that it should have been that during his previous lifetime, he should have been studying the scriptures already. That when he came across and encountered this phrase during this present lifetime, he can very easily interpret and understand what is being told in that phrase.
那么伫个今仔日1000年前左右的宋朝有一个外文家叫做伊嘛是24号内面的第24个号主，伊的大名叫做黄庭坚。那么后较顶礼拜有说到这个人，伊是24号内面的第24号，伊安那有下咧伊款待伊的老爸老母，安怎款待咧？毋是干那互伊好食好、好穿好、好大，而且咧，因老爸老母饲料、马桶拢有伊拼。男的饲料、马桶拢即个囡仔拼，因老爸老母的迄个饲料、马桶。
So last week we have also mentioned about the great scholar Wang Tingjian. He was about 1,000 years ago. That he was born, and he was one of the 24th filial piety exemplar in the 24th filial piety exemplar book. There are 24 stories, and he was the 24th of the stories. And he was very loving to his parents. And why do we say that? Because during his lifetime, he was the one, even though he was a boy, he was the one who was cleaning the portable toilet bowl of their parents every day.
人就问讲，为什么你要安尼呢？讲爸爸妈妈身体有好无好，看伊饲料就知影。
So people were asking him, why are you so diligent, and you have to clean your parents' portable toilet bowl every day? His answer was that it is true. It is when I see what is inside the toilet bowl that I can differentiate and tell if my parents are healthy or not.
你看伊的好心是遮尔无简单那么伊的好咧，毋是讲友好伊即世人的父母，友好伊即世人的妈妈爸爸，伊而且嘛友好伊顶世人的妈妈。伊为什么会当友好到伊顶世人的妈妈咧？这内面就有一个故事，讲伊就真若是会晓上网的时阵咱会用入去 YouTube 内面去找一个故事，叫做芹菜面的故事。
So we say that the way that Wang Tingjian was displaying his filial piety was not just as anybody, because he showed his filial piety not only to his parents of this lifetime, of that present lifetime, but he also showed filial piety to his parents from his previous lifetime. So if we have access of YouTube, we can go to YouTube and search for a story called the celery soup story of Wang Tingjian.
那么后顶面再大约讲一个这个故事的一个大约是安尼黄庭坚24个就考调定书那么26个时阵去互政府派去一个咱今仔日叫做安徽省中国一个省份叫做安徽省芜湖市这个所在去做为政府官员初去无几日的时阵转来遮无几日的时阵有一日中昼的时阵迄税务长休困问去讲伊行到一个所在看到一个老阿嬷家香咧拜拜，头前放着一碗迄个芹菜面，叫讲 女儿啊，回来吃面哦，吃你最喜欢吃的芹菜面了。讲查某囝，你回来哦，回来吃你上爱食的芹菜面哦。啊，这个黄庭坚哦，看了一碗芹菜面哦，从那捧起来吃，从那，无偌久，伊从那醒啊，醒的时阵哦，规喙拢种芹菜味，芹菜迄个味道，迄个味素啦。哦，伊就感觉奇怪，一个。忽然间咧想到讲啊，今仔日是我的生日，吼，甲忽然间发觉讲，迄天就是伊的生日，26岁的生日。啊，第二天咧，吼，第二天原在安尼，中昼迄困日头的时阵吼，佮伊梦去讲，伊吼去到一个所在啊，看到一个阿姆啊，阿婆啊，吼，同款是迄个所在，迄个看到迄个一个较侪岁阿姆啊，吼，第二天互伊安尼佮。梦去着即个梦的时阵吼，伊第三天的时阵吼，日头的时阵伊都无困哦，就那要去找迄个连续2天，互伊梦着迄个所在，结果找啊，行离开迄个伊迄个 office 无偌远的所在咧，找着迄个梦中迄间厝，才找着梦中迄个老阿姆嘛，吼，就甲即个老阿姆嘛开讲的时阵吼。迄个老阿嬷就甲伊说讲吼，伊吼有一个查某囝，的时阵，伊饲到26岁的时阵吼，这个查某囝真乖真友好，真好读册，嘛拢总食菜。结果到26岁的时阵吼，一方面是因为好读册，阁是女的，无法度去考试嘛，因拜女的无法度考试啦。有学问无法度考试，第二方面啦，身体较无好，所以26岁的时阵哦，就过身啊。那么过身要断开以前哦，伊甲伊妈妈说讲：妈妈，你免烦恼，我虽然要去咯，毋过我一定会转来看你。所以吼，每一年吼，伫个因查某囝过生日，总是会吼，煮一碗芹菜面，加一支香。叫因查某囝转来食芹菜面，即马请璇做一个翻译，咱多一半。
So, Wang Pingjian, when he was just 24 years old, he already passed the government exam and as a 进士. So when he was 26, he was already assigned to Anhui province to be a government employee. So when Wang Pingjian became the prefect of Guangzhou, he dreamed one day, dreaming that he would go to a village and saw an old woman with white hair standing by the door, as if waiting for somebody. There is an incense table at the door with a bowl of celery noodle. Wang Pingjian felt hungry in his dream, so he picked it up and ate the noodles. After a while, he woke up from his dream, and there was a real scent of celery still inside his mouth. In the next 2 consecutive days of dreaming, it was the same scene. He ate the noodles and woke up with the smell of celery. So he was wondering why this keep on happening to him. So when Wang Pingjian feeling very strange, so he walked so he tried to remember what was in his dream, and he walked along the path in his dream. He followed the path from his dream, and then he was able to come to a certain village. Everything there that he saw was exactly the same as in the dream. The old white-haired woman he saw in the dream was also standing in front of the door. Beside her was a bowl of fragrant celery noodles. She was calling somebody a name that was somewhat very familiar to Wang Pingjian, and she was calling that name for that person to come and eat the noodles. So Wang Pingjian stepped forward and he asked the old lady for the reason why she was doing that. And the old lady said that it was her daughter's death anniversary during that day. He told him that her daughter was a very loving daughter, and because of some reason, while she was still just 26 years old, she became sick, and when she was already dying, she told her mother that not to worry, because even if she dies, she will still come and visit her mother very often. And that he also told Wang Tingjian that her daughter loves to eat celery noodles when she was alive. So at this time of the year, during her death anniversary, she would always prepare celery noodles and call her daughter's name to offer the celery noodles to her.
这黄庭坚哦，对这个厝啦，对这个阿姆嘛咧，伊感觉讲，甲伊这个关系非常非常的切，跟咱非常非常的亲，啊，所以伊就甲这个阿姆嘛说讲，你是毋是会用咧带我去看恁查某囝因摆所徛所生活迄个所在，哦，啊，这个阿姆嘛就甲伊带入去伊的厝内。伊就甲伊说讲，哦，去到伊个房间内底吼，这间房间根本就无亲像一个吼少年查某囡仔的房间，颠倒亲像一个吼读册人书生吼知识分子的书房册房啦。啊，这个阿姆嘛就甲黄庭坚说啦，讲阮查某囝吼所读的册拢放伫即个桌仔底，啊，伊所写的文拢放伫即个桌仔底。毋过吼，我定定就找袂到迄个伊的锁匙。要若是找会到的时阵，我就会做你拍开，互你看。结果黄庭坚哦，无等啊因老母去找迄个锁匙，家己自然而然的，就行到一个伊足熟的所在去摕到迄支锁匙哦。凭因老母甲知影讲，凭迄个女的甲知影讲锁匙放伫咧倒，啊，就用这支锁匙拍开迄个册橱。啊，原来迄个册橱内底所有的册。就是黄庭坚呢，对细汉你哋读到24个所读嘅册，读到26个所读嘅册，啊，伊所写嘅文呢，拢总是伊对细汉到大汉所写嘅文，包括伊去考政府考试去考状元、中进士一篇文，嘛是真世人，这个查某囡仔就已经写出来。
So Wang Tingjian was feeling so familiar to the environment where he went that day. And he felt so close to that house and also to the old woman. So Wang Tingjian thought that everything must have been just a coincidence, and that that day was also his birthday. So he asked again the old woman, "How long has your daughter passed away?" The old woman said, it was already 26 years old. Wang Tingjian was so surprised during that time because he was also 26 years old that year. And that day when he first dreamed of that celery noodle, it was also his birthday. So he asked the old woman to let him visit the room of her daughter. And when he entered the house of the old woman, there was a large cabinet inside the room of the daughter that has been sealed in dust for many years. And the old woman explained that I never come in and open my daughter's cabinet because I didn't know where my daughter kept the key. I can never open it, so I can never clean or try to look at the things inside. That was what the old lady told him. So after hearing that, Wang Tingjian thought for a while, and very easily he just went and found the key. As if he already knew where the keys were kept. So the cabinet was full of books and articles that the girl had read before when she was still alive. And to Wang Tingjian's surprise, those books and articles were exactly the same as his own articles. As the books that he was studying during his lifetime. And the articles inside some of the articles inside the cabinet were even exactly the same as his own articles in his previous government exams. So Wang Tingjian realized something, that he must have returned to his previous life.
所以黄庭坚发觉讲吼，伊知影了，体会着讲啊，这个就是真世人的老母吼。那么，迄个梦中迄个梦，啊，甲伊这 身躯外口迄个身躯，吼，伊的因缘就是安尼。那么伊顶世人伫咧做女性的时阵，所读的迄寡册本、迄寡好的文章咧，到这世人伊嘛是会用好好啊，搁去一直啊用落去。所以咱若好好啊用个心去记一寡好的经典咧，伊对咱的本性人生一定有足大的帮忙。
So, Mang Tingjian understood that he should have returned to his previous life, and the old woman must naturally be the mother of his previous life. So, he can remember. So we should say that in this story, it is a dream within a dream and a body outside a body. That what we have learned in our previous lifetimes are not forgotten. We will still remember them, and we can still even use them in our present lifetime. Just as studying the scriptures in our present life, what we have learned before will eventually come back when we start studying the scriptures.
那么咱就用过说讲啊，为什么吼有的囡仔吼细汉啊读经典读无几年咧，伊就法度规经典解做甲足清楚诶。吼，咱即马过来看一个 YouTube 内面诶一个吼，一个较奇怪诶一个例，一个4、5岁囡仔吼，既然到4、5岁啊，尔咱30、40岁人，还是50、60岁人，无对会当了解心经的细项。但是一个4、5岁囡仔，伊第2堂读经班读到心经的时阵呢，伊有法度过细心经。啊，那么这是毋是表示讲，伊读心经毋是即马就读的，毋知过去世啊，是顶去世就读到。
So sometimes we wonder that some children, when they are still very young, they can already memorize and explain the scriptures very easily. So as for us, when we are already 30 to 40 years old or 50 to 60 years old, some of us still can't even understand the Heart Sutra. So in this video that we are going to show right now, it explains that the scriptures must have been learned by the child in this video during his previous lifetime, or we cannot know how many previous lifetimes has he already been studying the scriptures. Let us see the video first.
解释出来，也不会完全我就这样句的解释给你们，你可以按照自己的经验诠释吧。观看在菩萨是指观世音菩萨，从前般若波罗蜜多时说，实现自己的智慧，达到没有烦恼的意境。正见五皆都是说，领悟到物质与无常，他们的本质都是空的。度一切苦厄就是脱离一切痛苦和烦恼。受益于是处，当时提问了观世音菩萨的座下弟子，色不异空，空不异色，是说一切感官最后皆成空，色即是空，空即是色，一切万物都是空的本质。受想行识亦复如是，讲的是感受、思想、行为、意识也都是这样。上面这都很空想是说弟子啊，所有东西没有长久不变的，唯有一切成空。不生不灭讲的是没有永恒的生命，也就没有所谓的环境，不尽是没有绝对的物质，没有绝对的而不增不减，没有绝对的增加，也没有绝对的减少。无 一直在空的状态下，无受想情绪，也没有固定的感受，思想、行为、意识，无言而明着真理，就是没有对社会教育触觉，无特征将未触法，是说看到一切闻到的、吃到的、摸到的，没有永久的感受，无眼见假，眼睛看到的一切其实是梦幻，根本不存在，乃至无世界，所有体会感觉到的都不是虚幻。说人不再因为无知而过度流行，其中明就是智慧，无明就是没有智慧，无明就是没有智慧，就是有智慧。地无文静，也就具备了永久的智慧，乃至无老领悟了这个道理，就没有生老病死的存在，地无老虎境，也就没有轮回的痛苦。现具无苦集灭道，讲的是脱离轮回之苦，达到最高的智慧，而无智应得是，不因骄傲而沾沾自喜，也不盖我执，以无所得故，达到觉悟是不盖执着的缘故。菩提萨埵是说修行的各界，依般若波罗蜜多不讲，因为依照佛法的缘故，其中佛法是说布施、禅定、持戒等等，其无挂碍是说心中没有烦恼，无挂碍故无有恐怖，说由于心中没有烦恼，所以没有畏怖。整离颠倒共想是说毁离思想排列作物所造成的偏执，就近涅槃会后完全解脱。三世诸佛是过去、现在、未来的心境完全觉悟。般若蜜多故是说，因为依照佛法修行缘故。至高无上的正知正觉，其中阿耨多罗是至高无上的，3秒是非常正确，安菩提是正知正觉，故知般若波罗蜜多是大神咒，所以知道般若波罗蜜多是有极大神力的咒，大明咒是引领，是光明净土的咒，是无上咒，是无等的咒，是至高无上的咒语，是无可比拟的咒语，能除一切苦，真实不虚假的是，能解脱一切痛苦，真实而不虚假。故说般若波罗蜜多咒，可以用咒语赞叹无上的智慧。即说咒曰：去说现在就开始出咒语，接地接地是去吧去吧，我们波罗接地是达到幸福的彼岸，波罗僧接地是假，用诸多法门修行到达彼岸。菩提萨埵后，大家一起悟道，一起圆满修成正果吧。
会晓解说心经啊，尔，还有解说道德经吼，因为还有其他的经典吼，从读经班的人有法度解说遮尔深的经典，就有法度甲咱解说吼。为什么六祖伊唔捌字咧？法度讲不经。
So we will be wondering very much about how this very young boy can explain the Heart Sutra so easily to us. So he should have been studying the sutras during his past lifetimes. And that also explains why our sixth patriarch Huineng can understand a very difficult phrase when he first heard it.
那么咱今仔日经典这部分就讲到这，搁选了利用半点钟来讲吼，不离神地性。
So we will stop this discussion of the do not stay away from the Holy Scriptures, and we will start with our discussion with do not stay away from good knowledge.
神地性就是伫咱修道的过程中啊，有法度吼，甲咱时时刻刻甲咱启发的人，迄拢叫做神地性。
So good knowledge are those people who can help us in every way during our cultivation.
有时阵是正面的启发，有时阵是负面的启发。
So those some will help us in the positive way, and some will also help us in the negative way.
就要看咱用什么款智慧来去甲看待，用什么款的角度来去甲伊看待。其实所有咱所拄到的道亲，还是真贤大德，还是讲真人也好，点禅师也好，拢是咱的神地性。
So it will all depend on how we look at how people are trying to help us in our cultivation. It will depend on what angle are we trying to understand other people's reaction to us. So including our Qianren and all our Lao Qianren and all our Tian Chuan Si, they are all our good knowledge.
那么为什么咱修道需要神地性咧？因为咱修道袂做你无伴，敢咱英文常常说 ，Nobody is island。一个人吼是无法度做一个孤岛，一定边仔爱有人。所以孔子也说，孔子讲吼，德不孤，必有邻。一个有德行的人咧，一定有一个好的厝边。孔子嘛说讲，礼人为美，甲迄寡。有主笔的人徛做伙咧，是一种非常善良的代志，非常水的代志。
So why do we say that we need to, we should not stay away from good knowledge? Because in cultivation, we will need good companions along to go with us hand in hand, because of the saying that says, "No one is an island." We can never live alone, and we can never cultivate alone. So that's why Confucius once said that the virtuous will not be left to stand alone. He who practices good virtue will surely have good virtuous neighbors. And another, he also mentioned that it is beautiful to live in a neighborhood that is filled with goodness.
若修迄个孤单一人的道吼，会修了会偏差去。
And when if we try to cultivate by ourselves, sometimes we will go the wrong way.
神地性就是伫咱吼有道理无明白的时阵，咱即摆来看咱的投影片吼。伫咱未明白的时阵哦，有一寡道理咱未通透，那么神地性就是甲咱倒看倒带，是甲咱倒回水，互咱会当吼愈来愈明理，愈后愈我都。体会，愈来愈我都领悟。
跟我讲吧，老师，好。So, we need to have companion. We should need to have good knowledge with us when we are trying to cultivate, because should you fail to enlighten yourself, you must seek out the great masters. These great masters are the cultivators and the people who has learned a lot, who can understand the supreme doctrines and that they can directly show us the right path.
那么咱即马地方的修行哦，是入世法修出世道咱无出家咱就是穿足水的衫，穿现代衫的迄个出家人，各种的行业的人拢会做咧修行，无耽误咱的工作，嘛毋免离开咱的家庭，放弃咱的事业，咱即马是叫做圣化兼修，所以咱需要真侪道亲道伴，因为 人无亲的，因为道才变亲起来。咱会当定定甲道亲同修做伙，做互相联络，定定讲话时阵讲一寡较道理有关系，莫说一寡是非啦、批评啦，多多去关心道亲，多多对道亲付出的时阵呢，那么咱修道这条路会继续好行的。
So the way that we, the cultivators, during this white stage period, is that the way the disciples in this stage practice cultivation through the use of social ministry in order that they can cultivate their spiritual ministry. People can practice in all walks of life without being a monk, without delaying of work, and without giving up the family. Because we, the cultivators nowadays, for the male, we are just like monks in the modern suits, and for the female, we are like nuns in fashion gowns. So people are not intimate to each other because of Tao. They become intimate, and they often, because of Tao, they will become intimate, and they will often keep in touch with their fellow cultivators. They will not deviate from Tao in their discussions. They care more and avoid getting into trouble in their talks, because in our cultivation, we will tend to not to judge other people, but we will love each other more.
下一张投影片。咱就讲这个神地学的，神地学就是要甲咱如切如磋如琢如磨。
The good knowledge, when we encounter good knowledge, when we discuss things with them, it is like cutting and trimming. It is like grinding and polishing, that they will help us to gradually improve by slowly discussing with us that we are learning in a gradual process.
那么这个是甲咱差不多迄个上迄个下呢，就先是甲咱互相学习，彼此成长。
So these people who are cultivating with us, we help each other in learning, and we grow together in cultivation.
那么比咱较早修的咧，迄个前辈者啦，真人啦，领导点传师啦，那伊所行过修道的路，毋知比咱加行偌济那么，敢若亲像爬山咧，咱若要知影讲山头前的路是安怎，咱当然就爱问迄个已经行过的人。那么，即寡真贤大德真人领导点传师前辈者咧，就是迄寡咱要问路的人。
So for those people who have already cultivated way before us, these are Qianren, our seniors, or our Ling Tao Tian Chuan Si. They are all people who can help us and guide us in our cultivation. That if we, there is a saying that if you wish to know the ways up in a mountain, you need to ask the ones who had been through it. That these great masters that we have mentioned before can be with us and accompany us through our journey of our Tao cultivation.
那么所谓的真理学咧，不管是比咱较早修较真贤大德，还是甲咱差不多上门的，伊拢总是会当带咱，还是陪咱，好好行修道这条路。
So whether they are our seniors, or people who have already cultivated long before us, or whether these people are the ones who are cultivating along with us, all of them can all be our good company, and they will all help us in our way of cultivation.
那么咱人拢是感情的动物啦。那么感情有几啊种咱讲通常就是爱情啦，还是讲迄个家庭中的亲情啦，还是朋友中的友情啦。但是除了这三种以外，还有一种情嘛是真正宝贵，迄叫做道情。
So for us humans, our attachment or our emotions are not just limited to romantic love or the love of family or just to friendship. There is still another kind of love that we will experience, that it is the love for our taukins or our fellow cultivators.
下一张。那么就哈即马这结论以前哦，就来甲各位道君分享哦一寡咱道中的一寡吼善知识甲道亲中啊的迄个道情。
So before we go ahead to our conclusion, Tian Chuan will share with us her experiences with some of our senior cultivators or the so-called good knowledge.
那么拄啊，伫迄个唱道馆的时阵，咱看到张老前人啊，看到张老前人边仔嘛有一寡差不多甲伊上轮的迄寡前辈者、前人者，吼，因的迄个前辈者甲前辈者中的道情啊，非常深。
So during our song a while ago, we saw that there was our Changlao Qianren, and with him were also so many Qianrens with him. So the seniors, they also have their intimate relationship with each other.
那么内面有一位是吼安东做的，徛在前人边仔就安东做的好前人。
So besides our Changlao Qianren, there was a Qianren from the Antong group.
因的前人姓高嘛吼，那因的安东做的道亲，也是因高前人啦。讲到咱张老前人的时阵，是讲到有迄流目屎。
The Qianren of the Antong group was Gao Qianren, and every time when the people or the members of the Antong group will remember or will mention about our Changlao Qianren, they will always become very emotional.
因为因拄吼，咱拄来台湾传道的时阵吼，拢是对中国过来，对大陆过来，中间经过真侪困难，那么前人可能早几个月到位，那么因高老前人吼，因的前人换几啊个月落来，对迄个中国过来，那么拢总是坐船过来，高老前人的船呢，伫海中出代志。险啊，规船的人袂当上岸，佫险啊出性命的问题。
So Gao Qianren was during that time was traveling from China, and he was trying to go to Taiwan. So along the way during their travel, they have encountered so many difficulties, and when they reached Taiwan, and during that time, they even met an accident at sea, and they nearly lost their lives. And that time, our Changlao Qianren has already traveled to Taiwan, not very for a little time more than little earlier than the Gao Qianren.
在发生危险的时阵吼，张老前人都想尽各种的方法去甲因解救，尾仔才有法度互伊平安登陆台湾。迄内面的困难吼，毋是一天两天讲会到的。
So when our Changlao Qianren knew that they were encountering so much difficulties and accidents during their travel, Changlao Qianren tried every ways and means in order to help them. So that was why they were able to land Taiwan safely.
所以因定来说，伊毋是敢救着张老前人的命嘛，救着因安东做命，因安东做就因为张老前人才有这个安东做，毋是敢若因为高老前人，嘛因为咱张老前人才有去做叫做安东做。
So the members of the Antong group always say that what Changlao Qianren helped before was not just the life of Gao Qianren, he also helped for the survival of the whole Antong group, because without his help, the group will never prosper.
这是救着性命，甲救着迄个命啦吼。那么 宝光建德嘛共款，宝光建德迄个组嘛是由咱长老真人发挥伊的道情，宝光建德当我就办道办落去。
Also, the same thing happened to Pao Guang Jianter. It was also through the help of our Changlao Qianren that Pao Guang Jianter was able to prosper with their temple.
所以道清甲道清的中间即个情敢若是也应讲是超越很超越、很崇高的。
So we can say that the attachments of or emotions between Tao members are not just ordinary attachments; they were very supreme, on a very supreme level.
你看迄个安东做伊踮咧咱菲律宾嘛是几年前嘛是有对香港传过来。
So the Antong group also has spreaded their group from Hong Kong to Manila.
唔是馬尼拉，西部。
To Cebu.
伊無來馬尼拉，伊去佇宿務去佇宿務去嘅時陣來甲咱宿務先天信徒年3八咯。
So when they arrive in Cebu, they get to know with the people of our Xian temple in Cebu.
當然嘛，就是咱捌到咱尊貴嘅電經理甲電經理嘅牽手確實是。
So there they were able to meet our Tian Chuan Si and also the husband of our Tian Chuan Si, Mr. Ko.
那麼因都攏是菲律賓人。
So their members were all Filipino people.
電經理就講確實說講你有一塊地甲下我哋辦甲菲律賓所在，你就甲迄塊地關互因啦，安尼伊毋則較好做代志。
So our Tian Chuan Si was so compassionate that she told her husband that since the members from the Antong group were all Filipino people and they were in the place where most people living there were Filipinos, and that she was telling her husband that since you have a piece of land in that area, why don't you donate your land so that they can build a temple and it will make them easier for the people to cultivate.
那么電經理甲確實是嘛，足有道情嘅，所以正經甲迄塊地獻互電工安東做去，互因運用。
So since there was also an attachment between Mr. Ko and the Antong group, and Antong group, he really donated the land for them to use.
這就是咱會當看會到迄辦道中啊，迄個道情足尊貴嘅。那麼後下讀中學嘅時陣頭一擺發覺道情嘅尊貴是佇個有一擺足大嘅迄個做大水，足大嘅風台。
So from that experience, we can see how great the attachments of the Tao members with each other. So there is still another story, an experience when happened when our Tian Chuan Si was still in high school.
迄個飲水飲啊真懸迄個飲過來的水阮這邊阮徛的這邊叫做山中啦這邊河的這邊無保環，水攏飲對山中這邊來，飲甲真貴。山中的人攏總愛拆厝半，走去厝頂去倒水，才會去互水飲死。台北迄邊有保環，台北迄邊無飲到水，水攏走來山頂埔，走來山中。
So during that time, there was a great typhoon that came, and since there was in the place of our Tian Chuan Si, it was Sanchong, there was no embankment or dam in their place. So the water from Taipei all went to Sanchong. That created a very great flood in their place. That people in that area will have to go up the roof of their house so that they can survive the flood. 大家就踮咧厝頂要一兩工無物件通食。 So everybody stayed in the roof of their houses, and there was no food or help whatsoever for 2 days.
等下无风无雨咯，就等看有人来甲阮救的时阵看政府也是讲迄个拼看会来无，结果远看一个人来，迄个人举一支德国长，德国就是德啊因摆台湾人用德国的披萨，伊举迄个披萨的德国头前要举一支德国哪行哪突，就看迄个路内面有迄个水库无，有满雨无。身躯头前排一布袋的饭，后壁排一布袋的馒头。
So after the flood has subsided, people in that area were expecting that either the government will come or the police will come to help them after the flood. But they have been waiting, but nobody came. And then unexpectedly, there was a man who came. He was holding a bamboo stick, and because he had to use that bamboo stick to check if there were manhole on the road, because there was still flood, he cannot see the road, so he used the bamboo stick to check if he can walk through. So everybody was surprised that this man came, and then with him he brought some rice and then some bread, mantou.
安尼，远看行军来一个看，就是徛伫23林堡上军的台北，台北民权路一个开轮胎店，专门咧卖米其林的迄个轮胎的迄个陈德奎点传师等点传书。
So everybody was so surprised that from afar they saw that this man coming to them. And when he came near, they realized that this man came from Taipei, and that he was the Chen Te Kui Tian Chuan Si, and he was the only one who came to extend help to the people who had experienced the flood.
伊阵伊伫领伊甲单点传师甲蔡前辈是共一工领命的。是领，毋共一工领命的。因两个是共一工领命的。
So Chen Te Kui Tian Chuan Si and our Tsai前辈became Tian Chuan Si on the same day.
所以两个做道情真深嘛，互相非常关怀啦，这就是道亲甲道亲中啊的迄共一组的道亲甲道亲中啊的道情。
So it also showed the emotion and attachment between Tao members and Tian Chuan Sis, that they will really come and help each other.
那么阮看到陈天传师的时候，阮大家目睭拢红，伊嘛目睭红，迄水是淹到已经要甲淹到要到伊肩胛头，伊嘛是爱撩水安尼过来。
So everybody became very emotional when they saw the Chen Te Kui Tian Chuan Si who came to help them. Because during that time there was, even though that the typhoon and the flood has subsided, but still during that time it was no longer up to the roof, but still up to the armpit of our Tian Chuan Si. So everybody was so thankful and very emotional upon seeing him coming to help.
那么后下过来用一个咱基础组甲法律组的道情来做一个分享。
So we will now share another experience between G2 group with another group in the Philippines.
Fa-I group.
Fa-I group, with the Fa-I group.
Fa-I 从道一个活动叫做修德的
对，修德。
修德因的调传师是kend多。那么伊是一个读规册的一个点传师那么伊退休以后，在政府退休以后，主要摕迄个退休金来马尼拉 起一间公共不等，迄间公共不等内面的道具拢总是菲律宾人。
So the Fai group had a temple in Manila, the Shota Temple. Their Tentransu was a male Tentransu that after he received his retirement fund from Taiwan, he brought all his retirement fund to the Philippines and built a temple, a public temple for everybody to use. And their members in that temple were mostly Filipino people.
内面有包括咱几礼拜前去年年尾的时阵有起来跟咱分享的迄位清修的昆道道亲，伊的大名叫做
Jenny
Jennifer。
为什么呢？伊会跟咱过这个缘呢？因为陈典禅师甲周典禅师拢是kend道点禅师嘛来菲律宾了，两个常常有联络。
So we will now discuss about why is it that a member from the Fai group is always with us during our lectures, and one of them even came up and prepared a lecture for all of us during the last part of December. It was the name of that member was Jenny Beth. So we will all wonder that why is it that Jenny Beth is always with us. The reason is that their Tentransu and our Tentransu are both male, and so they have created such attachment with each other.
那么迄个陈典禅师办到办到最后一摆的时阵因为迄个猛爆性肝炎伫马尼拉倒落去了。
So their Tentransu got sick during the last part of his propagation here in the Philippines.
退休金用完拢总用来去倒院啊，佫伫咧面遮办到倒伫咧菲律宾要甲送转去台湾前阮去崇仁医院去看伊 ，Chinese General Hospital 去看伊。
So he did not just spend all his retirement fund in the Philippines. He even spent his life propagating Tao in the Philippines. So when he got sick in the Philippines and was admitted in Chinese General Hospital, our Tentransu went to visit him.
幸好拄我伫目过落过去转去厝内因为这个因也看有到看到伊最后见到伊最后一面啦。那么这个陈禅师甲周典禅师的手扭着。
So it was very lucky that our Tentransu just went back to Manila from Bacolod during that time, and that she was able to visit him also when he was still in the hospital. And during their visit, the sick Tentransu held the hand of our Zhou Tentransu and told him something.
陈典禅师就说讲周典禅师你对头就一直遐关心阮，甲关心即寡菲律宾道亲囡仔。
So he told our Zhou Tentransu that you were the one who has been with us since the very start, and you have been very caring to our members.
你就对头关心到尾拜托你就对头关心到尾啊。
So now he said that now may I ask you to take good care of our members, not just from the beginning, but please take good care of them until the end.
所以咱即寡华裔修德佛堂的即寡菲律宾年轻道亲，就是每一礼拜拜二，就是过来咱翁氏佛堂许助理家，大家做伙开班，大家做伙练做工书。
So the members of Fai Shota Temple will always come every Tuesday to the temple of our Lucy Zuli, the Yong Temple, and they will attend and listen to lectures and will also learn and practice to become lecturers.
所以咱修道咧，就是 靠一寡咱大家有三有道心的，认同老母娘、认同老师的主旨，大家做伙来扣做伙，大家来做伙来做上天的代志。这个大家人拢总是非常非常无简单。
So it is not easy that we can all come together to accompany each other in our cultivation, and that we can come together to help each other in our heavenly work for our Heavenly Mother.
所以咱定爱唱道歌的时阵呢，不管讲迄个什么手牵手也好，就是伊甲咱说讲，咱做一个道亲的，做一个修道人，咱所有修道人也好，一个也修道人也好，咱无可能一个人转去来听啦，不可能啦。老母娘交代咱100个，咱若甲咱带99个嘛，转袂转去啦。咱就是大家爱手牵手，共同一心，做伙转去。
So just like our Tao songs, there were songs that will say that we have to be hand in hand. That when our Laumuyo asked us to go back to her in the hundreds, when we will go back with just 99, we cannot go back very easily.
所以出点量叫做一个不能少。
So even we cannot lack even one.
但一个都不能少一定要好好的互相鼓励、互相学习大家互相是对方的善知识。
So we have to go hand in hand. We have to learn together. We have to encourage each other that we can all in the end go back hand in hand.
那么
Because each and every one of us are considered good knowledge to other people.
别人是你的善知识，你嘛是别人的善知识。
So other people are our good knowledge, and we are also good knowledge towards other people.
所以不能看不起别人，也不能看轻自己。
We should not look down at anybody, and we should also not look down at ourselves.
所以咱今仔日的这个修道占卜里的迄个专题就讲到这。那么咱的结论就是讲咱若定定等来不长的，就是占卜里咯。袂讲我即马疫情惯系用 Zoom 来开班拜当中用 Zoom 开班就好，唔免等于不长，袂做啦，一定要等于不长。
So this will end our discussion of the three inseparables of a cultivator. That we now understand that the three inseparables includes we should not go away from the temple, which means that we have to visit the temple from time to time. We should not make it a reason. We should not say that since there's pandemic and we are conducting already lectures in Zoom, so there is no need for us to go back to the temple. That is a wrong thought.
佛堂就是一正大法船，法船中若无人、无船员、无人，这只船就免开落去。
Because the temple is to be considered as a great holy ship. So if there is nobody inside the ship and nobody to maneuver the ship, how can it travel?
那么我来说咧，有形的佛堂咱定定在有形的佛堂内面，咱就当研究经典、听道理善知识做伙献果，做伙度人，安尼咱在公圆果满，有圆满的一天。
Because the temple is a tangible thing, we can see it, we can visit it. So we have to visit it very often, especially when there are offering ceremonies and other ceremonies that we need to attend, so that one day we can travel back to our Heavenly Mother easily.
那么三不离的，不是干那包括迄个佛堂经典加迄个善知识，三不离嘛是另外一种的说法，就是讲袂做你离开咱的三宝，又倒去三宝，现观无离真经甲考观。
So it doesn't mean that when we say the three inseparables, it is only meaning temple, the scripture, and good knowledge. The three inseparables, the three treasures, also includes three very important things: our main gate, our hand sign, and our Holy Sutra.
大家拢知影，都真好，尤其伫即个疫情的中啊，更加知影讲即个大道真宝贵。
So especially during this time of the pandemic, we all realize that Tao is really good, that it is really very, very precious.
那么咱讲知影就叫做知道。
When we say 知道, it means we know.
咱讲知道，毋是讲干那知影尔呢？知道就是讲知影道，毋是讲干那知影。咱做人毋是干那知影尔，爱知影道。
So in Chinese language, it contains two words, 知 and 道. When we say 知道, it is not just meaning you know something. It is 知 meaning you know, and 道 meaning 道 meaning you understand 道。
毋是干那爱知影尔，嘛爱搁家己做出来。
And it is not enough that we know Tao, we also have to act out what we have learned.
你知影道，迄是别人讲的道，就爱咱做出来。迄个道才是咱的道。
Because when we say that we know Tao and that we understand Tao, these are things that we have learned and heard from other people. So without putting them in action, Tao it still remains to be owned by the person who has discussed it to you. That it is when we can already act out and put our knowledge into action that Tao will become our own.
那么今仔日咧，就简单甲各位道尊学习到遮希望各位道尊大家欢喜充满迄个自信愈来愈光明。
So our discussion will be up to this point. We hope that everybody will be happy and healthy, and that our Holy Spirit will be brighter and brighter each day.
好，谢谢，感恩慈悲。
Thank you very much.